Isn't it weird how folks find ways to blame external factors for their failures without ever bothering to look inwards? Like, we blame the government, we blame the environment, we blame childhood factors. We do all that, but somehow evade sitting down to evaluate ourselves and take stock. That's kind of what I want to talk with us today, because we're going to look at part of the point I raised in my past video about how the crooked manager escaped becoming a victim of dire financial circumstances because he had this one vital skill. And this is a skill that I believe is going to be your first step to making money that lasts in 2024. Welcome again to my channel. We have a whole lot to learn today, and I believe you are going to be stoked just like I am and learn a whole lot that will keep you ahead of the pack in 2024. Now I'm currently looking at Luke chapter 14 verse 28, and here we have Jesus talking to some people, and he says to them, let's just assume you want to build a house. What's the first thing you do? You just go ahead and start building? Certainly not. If you want to build a house, the first thing you do is you take a look at the bank account, take a look at what expected inflows you hope that will come in, take a look at the mental strength, the capacity you have for the job, and you assess yourself whether you can get this house built with what you have on ground. See, he's now also to say, because if you don't do that and you go halfway and let's say you lay the foundation of the house and now you're stuck and everybody's looking at you, all you have is an uncompleted building, and evidently you would have boasted, let's say on social media, on Instagram, hey guys, I'm building a house. Now you can't finish it. What's going to happen? People are going to make mockery of you because you didn't do something so simple, significantly simple, that would have cost you nothing. You didn't sit down to take stock. Now, he gives another example, and part of why I love the Bible is if you take the religious filters off, you're going to see so many principles that are helping your life, and you're going to find that all we really need to know about life, some of the key information we need to know is inside the Bible. I mean, it goes ahead and talks about the king who wants to go to war, and it says, supposing you're a king, you want to go to war, and in case you don't know, business is war. Supposing you want to go to war, the first thing a smart king would do is to evaluate, and he gives figures interesting enough. Is to evaluate whether with your 10,000 soldiers you can beat your opponent who has 20,000 well-equipped soldiers. Now he's trying to say this guy has 10,000 more soldiers than you, and there is a possibility you could beat him, but you need to evaluate if you can. And that's part of the point I want to bring up today. When last did you sit down to take stock as an individual, as a business, as an entrepreneur? Because we spend so much time in the hustle culture. You will wake up every day, we thoughtlessly run after this paper called money or this idea of wealth. And when last did you actually sit down and say, wow, let's pause, okay? This stuff we are doing, is it really working, or is it the kind of stuff I'm going to heap up money and lose my health? So the need for stock taking should be evident to everyone, but obviously it's not. And I believe there are reasons for that, okay? The reasons for it, and I'm sharing this with you because you have people who all they're talking to you about online is make money, you do this and get that, and nobody ever really tells you to think for yourself. Because if we read where I'm talking, we're reading from in Luke, it says this king should sit down, think, evaluate, take stock of your strengths and your weaknesses. But that's not where I'm headed today. Part of where I'm headed today is I'm interested in looking at what are your reasons. Have you ever even bothered to ask yourself, why don't I ever bother to take stock? I mean, we go to extremes to avoid taking stock, to avoid self-evaluation. I mean, there's some of us, you leave your house as early as 4 a.m., you head off to work, you get the work, you're consumed in your routine work, you come back and you do the best you can to avoid having to think about your life. What do? You come back and you dive right into Netflix. I mean, you're looking at the screen till you doze off, then you repeat the cycle of the rat race day in, day out. All you know is you're certain that there's a paycheck coming at the end of the month. So you're living an unexamined life. Some of us in business, all we're doing, we're chasing the next deal, the next deal, the next deal. Like, you're not taking time to check, boy, okay, I'm getting all these deals, but maybe I'm losing my family. So what is it that's making us refuse to actually pause and not enter into an eternal introspection. That's not the goal. But we're looking words for in few minutes, few hours in a week. I'll ask ourselves, okay, what do I need to change? What is it that's stopping us from doing this? I have a few reasons. Number one, you're afraid of discomfort, especially emotional discomfort. Some of us hate the idea of having to look ourselves in the mirror and have no one else to blame but ourselves. You see, so we avoid self-evaluation because it helps, avoiding self-evaluation helps perpetuate the illusion that somebody else is the reason for our problem. So we can blame the government, we can blame our spouse, we can blame our kids, we can blame our cats, So we don't want the discomfort of having to face ourselves. Remind me of Michael Jackson's song, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. Okay, he said man in the middle, but I read it as man in the mirror. Okay, my fault, my bad. Well, really, you should be talking to the man in the mirror. You should be telling the man in the mirror to change his ways. All right, so some of us are just afraid of discomfort. But we need to get to the point where we face ourselves. That we have some of us who live in blissful lack of awareness of the need to change. Some people just flow through life. What is gonna be, you understand? And Sarah, and that kind of life is abhorrently unscriptural, you permit me to say. Because if you read in Proverbs, Solomon talks about the garden of the lazy man. And in case you don't know it, your life is a garden. It says he walked past the garden of a lazy man. He observed it was run over by weeds. When you were unaware, unconcerned about evaluating the things you need to take stock of and change in your life, what's going to happen is that you're going to have your life run over by weeds and you're not going to see the progress you want to see. The next point is resistance to change. Some of us just don't want to change. And all I want to say is, look, if you don't change, change will happen to you. And when change happens to you, it's going to break you. Look, the Bible says a stiff-necked man is suddenly broken and has no remedy. So you are going to do your best to avoid having change happen to you. You change before the change happens to you. Stop resisting change. Take stock of what you're good at, what you're bad at, what you need to improve, and make your life better. Resistance to change doesn't help you in any way. And of course, we have the bunch that live in self-deception. You believe your own press. Do you get? You walk around saying how great I am, and you never just bother to look and say, well, maybe these people singing my praises, or maybe even I am singing my praises. Maybe I need to improve on certain things. Now, self-deception is different from having a good self-esteem. Self-deception is when you refuse to recognize that you're not finished product. Nobody has attained the state of perfection. We are all getting better daily. I'm getting better daily. You're getting better daily. To now arrogate perfection to yourself is arrogance, and pride comes before we fall. So you need to take stock and look at the people you surround yourself with. Are there people that are always telling you that whatever you do is the best thing since fried rice? You have to change that, okay? Look at what you have surrounded yourself with. The feedback you get, is it true feedback or is it feedback that is laced with flattery? You see, the guy who flatters you is not really your friend. Wounds from a faithful friend is better than kisses from an enemy. Then, of course, we have people who walk around with emotional crutches. This is some of the reasons why people don't ever bother to self-evaluate, ever bother to, look at what they do and check whether it's actually taking them in direction that their lives should go. Because some of us walk around with emotional crutches, all right? So you've been hurt in the past, you've had terrible experiences in the past, and wow, your whole life is now about defending the fortress of your emotions, all right? So when somebody brings up something that seems like, well, I think you need to change this, you go all super ballistic and all defensive, and you put up all your reasons and you label them as enemies because, of course, in your mind, they hate me. Get rid of your emotional crutches. Don't walk through life an emotional invalid. If you want to be able to self-assess and make progress, you have to get rid of those crutches and accept emotional wholeness, okay? Because you have to be whole, you have to be confident to be able to look at yourself and say, boy, maybe I actually need to cut down on the amount of food I eat every day, you get? So that's it. And I go one more point, and that is your willingness to put in the effort. You are going to be absolutely gobsmacked to discover the number of people who want something but are desperately unwilling to put in the efforts needed for that change, it's going to shock you. You're going to, I mean, let's say somebody wants to become a world heavyweight champion and he doesn't exercise, doesn't run, doesn't box, doesn't train. That's how many people live their lives. They desire change and are willing to put in the efforts. If you are in that category, I can assure you that you live your life avoiding self-evaluation. And until you learn to confront yourself and evaluate and saying, these are the things I need to improve on, these are the things I need to get rid of, then making money the last thing 2024 is going to remain a pipe dream. Now, before I sign out, I'm putting down a link in my descriptions for you to click and, just play around with it, evaluate yourself, have fun with it, laugh about it, improve on it, and let's see how 2024 turns out for all of us. See you.